tonight together again. So good to have you all and to welcome you tonight for what we believe is going to be another fabulous encounter, fabulous sharing, fabulous mentioning a number of things that are happening and thanking you for what you have been doing. You know, the problem with the church is when the church chooses to do nothing, then nothing happens. But when the church decides to rise up and do something, the enemy has no choice but to comply to orders or to run away. Okay, but welcome tonight. I'm so glad we are together again tonight. As always, I'm not alone. My reliable co-pilot is with me. And from my side, welcome tonight. And my co-pilot, it's your chance that they can hear your voice tonight, sir.
Well, thank you and good evening to you, President. We are obviously not in the same venue, but it's always good to be interacting with you. And on this live broadcast tonight, greetings to everyone. So good to have you. Goeienaand, good evening. Sanbonani, Dumelang. We thank God for you, and we thank God for you tuning in week after week. And we pray that these sessions, this live broadcast has been informative, that you are learning and that you are able to skill yourself in some way and also teach others and share this information with others. And so, as I always say, it is so important that we continue doing the work that we're doing for the ACDP, because South Africa needs the ACDP and the ACDP needs you. Thank you, sir.
You know, whenever we share about the challenges we are facing as a nation, the problems we have, whether in communities or in schools, what you have just said is proven true. South Africa needs the ACDP, and the ACDP needs you. But before we get into the program and share some of the things that we want to highlight tonight, we want to hear what are our members saying, who will be the first to say Liperile, good evening, and so on. Let's hear who's the first one. Palessa Yates. She says, good evening, Mr. President and Mr. Deputy. Looking forward to your way forward tonight. Good evening, Palessa.
Nora Mali says, good evening, Honorable President, Deputy President, Woman of Destiny President, Mawonki Meshwe, and ACDP family. Kwakuhle, sihlangene futhi. Ay, ngiyafuna isiZulu kancane.
Ufunda kahle, you are doing well. Thank you, sir. Well done, well done. And then from KZN, Mutupa Tuba, from Tatana, Ubaba, Sipo Eric Manwele, who says, greetings to our president, Dr. K. Michwe, the deputy president, Honorable Thring, and the president of the Women of Destiny, Mrs. Michwe, brothers and sisters in Christ Jesus. Amen.
And Raymond Tlali, our NEC chairman, says, good evening, Mr. President, Deputy President, and the faithful ACDP members and supporters. Good evening, Chairman.
I think DP for failing to say Tlaedi. After so many years, you must run around your house 7 times tonight. Tlaedi, 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 Tlaedi. Then you'll get it right. All right? Ben Solomon. Good evening, my president, our DP, WOD president, and the entire ACDP family. The family needs us, and we need the ACDP. The only solution of the problems here in South Africa, shalom, shalom, nda. Nda.
Melissa Isaiah, KZN, from KZN says, greetings, Honorable President, Woman of Destiny President, our DP and ACDP family. Looking forward to an insightful evening. Thank you, President, for making time. Good evening, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. Totliso Mputi says, "Greetings, President and Deputy. Your honorable leadership is recognized." Good evening, sir.
Ephraim Mauhloli says, "Good evening, my President and DP and ACDP family." Tabo Mauhloli, chairperson of ACDP in Fazil Dabi, Makoka municipality. Good evening, Ephraim.
Good evening, Ephraim. His Place Developing Center. Good evening, Reverend Meshwe and ACDP family from Ward 12, Nelson Mandela Bay. Good evening, sir.
Christian Rolson, good evening, dear Mr. President, DP, and fellow members of the awesome ACDP family. I really love that. Blessings, every blessings to you all.
Leperile. Dumelang bagaetsho. Sanibonani. Good evening. Thank you so much for those wonderful greetings. Thank you for all the members who have joined tonight. And tonight, obviously, we want to introduce a subject we have not spoken about, but things are happening in schools, in communities, but particularly in schools. And when children go to school on buses, there is something called bullying. Bullying is taking place in the classrooms, in transport, whether it be kumbis or buses, but you always hear about children that are being bullied. And the ACDP that has solutions has to come up with a solution or propose a solution. And before we come to the solutions, it's important to be reminded that God is always right. People choose to disagree with God to their own peril. But we have a serious problem. And so we have Councillor Mokoena, who's going to tell us about bullying that took place in a school in Vosloorus. Thuto Lesedi High School. Bullying took place there. So he's going to tell us what happened. And we want to hear from you, members, what should be done? What more should be done? Should we think about reintroducing corporal correction? Or how can these problems be solved? Councillor Mokoena said, the floor is yours. Tell us what happened in Thuto Lesedi and what has your intervention and others assisted in the situation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. And once again, good evening, Mr. President, Deputy President, and all NEC members and ACDP family. Thank you for having me on this platform today. Yes, indeed, Mr. President, there was a bullying that is taking place last week on Wednesday, where a grade 8 learner was attacked by 4 learners. Or some were same age, 2 were same age, 2 were bigger than him. The fight started when this young man is selling sweets, stock sweets at the school to make some money for him, so that because to support also with the family, because that child comes from one, there's no father, there is a mother that is helping her. So in that day when the student, when we heard firstly, there was a rumor that she was thrown off from the balcony. That was not true, that she was attacked because of the stock sweets that he was selling. And they beat that young man, and she incurred a serious injury on the left eye that was closed. Even today when I went there, I saw this was still closed, but it's opening a little bit. So that the student took it to the teacher. The teacher said no, they must go and finish it off. And the principal also was informed, they did nothing. Then on Thursday and then Friday, the students said, no, we cannot tolerate this. We are taking it to the streets. They went all over Vosloorus, closing down schools, rallying and going to Tutoli Stadium, demanding justice to be done. And the principal was removed from the school because we believe today when I was with the family, they said the behavior of the principal was very arrogant. He never even went to go to the hospital to check on the victim. So he was removed. As you know, that in the ANC strategy is when somebody's been found guilty or there's alleged allegation, their strategy is to remove that place and deploy somewhere else, not solving the problem at all. So today I went to the school and I meet the deputy president there, who's Mr. Maduna Don, and I asked for details. Where is the family? And she gave me the contact number of the family, of the son. And then I asked them, though, would they like to have a prayer? Because as I said, I've been sent by our president to find out about the new development concerning this case, and also if there is a platform can be open for prayers to be school. They said to me, we were talking about this morning. And even before I came in, they said the two of them, they were talking about prayers. That means God is confirming that the prayer must come back to schools. They need it. And that's something that I will give it the contact number to the president so they can have open that communication and see how can we do it the best. Because the truth is, since they removed the assemblies from schools, we are experiencing more problems at schools. Rape is taking place, bullying is taking place, children are initiated into sangomas, lesbian and gay is left and right. So at the school at this moment, people do as they please because there's no corporal punishment anymore. Students are not being disciplined because they have more rights than teachers. Teachers have to become children in the class. And that's something that we have to do because indeed, as you said, Deputy President, that the ACDP need us and we need ACDP. So I went to them and the family, the mother expressed that they are not happy the way the investigating officer handled their case because they were not informed what is happening of any arrest that has been made. They only hear from the corridors. And I believe that is something that we will do on Friday when the president comes back and see what we can do to go to the police station. So to put more pressure that they have to deal with this case very seriously. And the family of the perpetrators have not come to visit the parents or to see or to say we are sorry and so on. They've not come, meaning that they don't care. Even the parents doesn't care of what happened of their children, what did they've done. Because this is something that is all over Vosloorus. It's not a rumor, it's there. As parents, they should have at least have a sympathy to say, let's go and see what our children damage they've caused to other children. As parents, they can sit and communicate. But they were happy seeing me there and I prayed with them. The other one that happened on Friday, this is a different one on Friday. One of our church lady by the name of Tsiho, when I look at after coming from prayer on Friday, I saw on my daughter's phone that they were communicating that, hey, Chomi, I've been beaten up, I've been bullied. And when I saw the pictures of the feet that were swollen up, we make a U-turn because we are on our home, said, no, we have to go and see what we can do. Indeed, when I get there, this child was alone there with the granny waiting for mom to come back. Mom went to do hair at the salon. And I asked what time would the mom come back? Said, I don't know. I said, no, you know what? It's going to take long because if they are doing hair at the salon, it's going to be a very long day, long time. So I went into the house and asked the parent, give me a permission, let me go with these children to the perpetrator's home so that we can try to find what is the problem, what transpired, what are the family doing, is there anything that they can do to this child. Indeed, we get into the bike and then we went. As before we left, there were some other young people that are related to the victim, and they were very angry. And this kind of incident, they tended to become now producing gangsterism of groups, because those ones, they wanted to defend this one, and if it allowed, there will be two groups fighting against each other. So I said, no, we cannot allow this. You guys, you must go home. I will go with these two children to the federal houses. Indeed, we went to the other one, and when we get there, they took time before they can open the gate. And I blow the hooter there so that I make noise until the father came out. And I said, we have a problem. I'm not sure whether your child told you that what happens today, there was a bullying that has taken place. He said, no, I have not been told. Please come in. I said, okay, because this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to consult with you first and hear what you are saying about this matter, because after this, we will go open a case for your child. So it depends on parents, how do you communicate? Then he allow us to come in. Then I allowed the young lady to say a story before the other boy. And the other young boy, when given a platform, said, oh, what did you know? He said, I know nothing. I know nothing. Then we asked, did you see the cold drink? He said, no, I did not see the cold drink. That's why I've asked this young lady, say, when did I take the cold drink? I said, okay, it's fine. If you say that, we take your word for it. Can you direct us to your friend's address? And indeed, he gave us the address and also directed us. On our way out, he phoned the friend to say, hey, they are coming at your place. So I phoned the mother, and I also phoned the transport driver to say, can I have the contact of the families? Indeed, he sent, because I was also upset about him being the custodian of the children in the absence of parents. When this thing happens, the children said he did not do anything. Even small children, they said, how Malume, are you going to keep quiet, not doing anything when you see these children are fighting? Instead, he wanted to leave them there where they are fighting and leave them and go. And then we go to the second one. And then the same thing process, asked the young lady to set her case, and it was listened to. And then it was time to say, young man, what do you say? Let's hear your story. He didn't say anything, and he didn't know what to answer. And the parents asked her, did you take cold drink? This young lady cold drink, because the fight was over cold drink. She had a cold drink in her bag, and when she was helping out the young ones to get out of the taxi, and this one saw an opportunity to take it and throw it to the other friend, and they drank it. And these young ones, they saw it and they told this one. And then he said, no, you know what? I did take it. Then the parents asked, why did you take it? The answer was, I was thirsty. And they said, what kind of cold drink is that? It was Coke. And then I said, but you know that you have an issue with gas. You don't have to drink anything that is acidic. So why did you take it? He was quiet. But what I like about this one, it was when we asked, he did not beat about the bush trying to be clever. He admitted, and we can see even in his face that he feels sorry for what he has done. And then the parents of the young men, they apologized to this young lady, and they also apologized to me to say they are very sorry, because children, when you send them to school, they get involved in other things that the parents are not expecting. And then I said, okay, that's fine. Then he has to apologize. And then he apologized. And I asked the young lady, and the brother was saying, what is your response? He said, no, I forgive when he asked for forgiveness. And then he went and brought money in and said, look, this is money that I'm giving you. It's about 30 rand or 40 rand. Said, please, this is the money that sure, I'm sorry, you can buy your cold drink back. And then that's how we dealt with the case. And then we went back. Then I went to report to the family. And I said to them, if the young lady doesn't sleep tonight, doesn't sleep well, and that means we have to take her to a doctor. And then tomorrow we'll see, because tomorrow it will be Saturday. Any costs that are going to occur, parents, please be aware that it will be communicated to you, and you should take responsibility. They said, no problem. We will do that, because we know our child has admitted before us. That's how we're going to solve these problems. So that's what we have done this day today. And before I left today, there was also bullying that is taking place, not only on students, also among teachers in terms of tribalism, you come from this country, come that country, and then this lady is a teacher crying in tears today. And when the president called me in the afternoon, couldn't get hold of me because I was busy with the lady. Bullying is also taking place amongst young people that we expect them, they will know better, but it is terrible. Prayer with schools without prayer, it's terrible. The prayer must come back. ACDP, you are needed. ACDP, you have a solution. And if God doesn't help ACDP to get this country right, we have nowhere to run. We have no more hope. So I want to thank you, Mr. President, for listening to God when He told you to go back into politics, even though it was a struggle between you and God. But thank you that you became obedient. And today, as I'm speaking, I'm a counselor and benefiting from what you have listened to God. And this is what we are, the direction we are taking. I hope many people will follow what we are saying. And let's hold hands together, lock up arms, and stand together. Let's move and let's stand for the kingdom of God and His righteousness, because that is what is expected of us. Thank you. Let me stop there, Mr. President and the team. God bless you.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Mokoena, for that brief. Indeed, we appreciate your intervention. Thank you for meeting the families whose children were involved in this bullying. Thank you for encouraging the victim. And thank you for showing that we have a ministry of reconciliation. I mean, they were reconciled to each other because of your intervention. So thank you. And I want to encourage our members, particularly councillors. Councillors, you need to be involved in what's happening in the communities. What are you doing in your communities? You cannot tell me that there is no fighting, there is no GBV in your communities, there is no bullying in your communities. Step in so that people can see that indeed the ACDP cares. We care for these children. We care for all the people, those who are being attacked, the innocent people who are becoming victims. We care for them. So let us get more involved in our community so that people can know that the ACDP cares. I know that my co-pilot also has something to say about this bullying. He has experienced it himself. He has been trying to solve some problems, but let him tell us what he has been doing regarding this bullying in his community.
Well, President, in my community, it came to my attention that there was a young man schooling in a school in Durban Central, eThekwini, here in KZN. And while he was on the school premises at school, he was accosted by two young men, one of whom had a knife. So one of the young boys in my church, in our local church, was a friend of this other boy. When he saw the knife being pulled, he actually tried to come between his friend and the attacker. But fortunately, as when he tried, he got pushed, he fell over, and then the two boys proceeded to attack his friend with the knife, stabbed him in the neck, and that young man is now paralyzed from the neck down. The young boy in our church indicated that who was the friend to this boy that was stabbed, indicated that there was a teacher on duty who actually saw the incident. And when he saw the young man being attacked, the teacher actually ran away. I raised this. The parents have also approached me, saying that the education department, since their son has been in hospital and now at home, being taken care of by his mom, not a word from the school, not a word from the education department. I raised this on at least 3 occasions with the minister, the Minister of Basic Education, Minister Gwarube, and on 2 occasions she committed to assisting this particular family. But to date, the family has not been assisted. And this young man was attacked, bullied, and is now paralyzed from the waist down. It's a technical school, and his dream was to become a motor mechanic. That's what he was studying to become. And that dream, President, is now gone because of this particular incident. But maybe let me just also indicate that the incidence of bullying is far-reaching in South Africa. There was an article done by Harrington Johnson Wan's Attorneys and Conveyancers, and in their statistics and research that they did just this year, they said that there are more than 3.2 million learners in South Africa. This is just bullying in schools. 3.2 million learners that are bullied yearly in South Africa. They found that 67% of the bullying victims will not ask the teacher for help because they don't believe that the teachers will actually help their situation. 90% of the bullying is carried out by a fellow learner. And some 160,000 school learners bunk school daily to avoid being bullied. And 1 in 10 learners, 10%, drop out of school to avoid being bullied. And some 16% of learners admit that they are also victims of cyber bullying. But what is sad, President, was that in this year alone, they say, in the last month alone, I think this article was written in April. And so in the month of April alone, there were 3 suicides of children younger than 15 due to what is believed to have been caused by either depression or desperation arising out of bullying. Now, sir, this is a situation that is obviously spiraling out of control, and it's spiraling out of control because we do not have the systems in place, the ethics in place, the proper teaching in place, and the culture of how do we deal with each other. And very clearly, President, the aspect of respect, the aspect of honoring God, respecting each other, these aspects and some of these key principles that we were taught when we were young, aspect of biblical correction, because it's been removed from schools, we are now seeing this escalation where some 3.2 million learners in our schools have to face bullying.
Very sad indeed to note that many of the problems we have in the communities, either they were created by the state or the state has had a major hand in causing the problem. And then many times then they turn around and try to solve the problems they've caused and they don't succeed. That is why in the beginning of this program, I said, God is always right. Those who think they are more clever than God. God says marriage between a male and a female, gender is between man and a woman, is between a man and a woman. That's gender. We have only 2 genders. They say, no, God is wrong. They will prove God is wrong. There are 3 genders. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to God, follow God, and it will be good for you. Follow the scriptures, because what we see in the world today is really heartbreaking. What you see in the schools is heartbreaking, in families is heartbreaking, all over. It's all heartbreaking. So may the Lord help ACDP members who have the solutions. We know that some of these things, they will not accept them. They will say, no. You know, when you talk about the Bible, you talk about scriptures. Friends, there is no other solution. There is no other alternative. We do things God's way, we will succeed. We do things our way, the humanist way, we are not going to succeed. our country is in a mess, okay, because of what the state has been doing and saying. The UN also, must mention, have contributed much in the problems that we are having. You would be surprised to know that there are games for homeless people, international games for homeless people. Homeless people. These people obviously have been allowed by the state from the UN. Our government is saying everybody has the right to live where they want. Person can come and pitch a tent on your property if you have a big property or in front of your house. And if you are not there, you're on holiday, you come after a week and you find somebody there with a tent, it's going to be a massive challenge to remove them. All right, maybe one day I'll talk about what's happening currently with us in church. We had to evict somebody from our property because this person, among other things, maybe let me not go there. Maybe we'll tell you next week. But governments are making problems, are causing problems. And as a result of those problems, we have the remorse we have in the countries. Okay, let's leave bullying. We'll hear from you. Please send notes and tell us how can we resolve this. The most important thing I said, let's do things God's way. Let's do things God's way. Because God knows better. Okay, now let's look at something that will be happening very, very soon. The president has been talking a lot about it, which is what the president called national dialogue. What is the goal with this national dialogue? He says we have to put our heads together and see how we can solve our problems and move forward together. I can tell you, these unbelievers who think they can make it without the Lord, they're not going to succeed again. If you look at who's the chairman and deputy chairman of that national dialogue, who's going to lead the process, you realize that one of them is somebody who doesn't believe in democracy. Don't believe in democracy. Don't believe in democracy. So what are they going to say to the people? Now, one of the things I'm going to say is that if they do not restore respect, everything else is going to be in vain. Respect. And ACDP members, it's important for you to talk about the importance of respect, hoping that you are respectful yourself. Members, we need to tell South Africa needs respect on 4 levels. Number 1, all of us must respect God Almighty. We can't rebel against Him and expect to succeed. Number 1, respect for God must be spoken about and must be restored. Secondly, respect for self. The fact is that if you don't respect yourself, don't expect other people to respect you. Self-respect. Number 3, respect for your neighbor. You can't bully your neighbor if you love your neighbor. You won't do it. People are destroying each other's future because they don't respect them as individuals. They are the only important ones and not their neighbors. So there has to be a restoration of respect for God. Secondly, respect for self. It's important people must be told self-respect, self-discipline, do the right thing yourself. And thirdly, respect for your neighbor. Respect for people around you, people you live with. And fourthly, very important one, respect for property. Why am I saying an important one? Councillor Mokoena did not, maybe he forgot to tell you something he told me. Because of this bullying that happened in the school, Tutoliseri High School, the students there went to other schools to influence other children. And some of them started saying, let's burn down that school. Burn down that school. because there's no respect for property. These children, you upset them, they mobilize each other, they burn down libraries, they burn down schools, they just touch everything in their way. And this is wrong. That is why ACDP is needed in South Africa. We need to confront these issues and tell students who want to burn down anything because they are upset that this is not the way to go. This is not the way to go. So I'm going to raise this issue again at the National Dialogue meeting. We have been invited, and the NEC had decided that our chairman and secretary general are going to represent us there. Now, today I got a phone call, they say, please come also. So I will go on the 15th and propose what I wholeheartedly believe is the way forward. Keep God out of the problems of South Africa. You are keeping the solution out of the problems of South Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, the National Dialogue will be happening soon. Please send ideas. What can we do? What should we do to solve the problems of South Africa? Because there is a solution. There is a solution. Children must be children. Adults must be adults. And children must be guided by the adults and not the other way around. To hear that a teacher ran away when he saw children fighting because he was not sure if he tried to intervene whether both children or those who were involved were going to turn on him. It's a very sad situation. We have lawless children who are going to become lawless parents, and the situation is going to worsen. That is why we need to work hard to ensure that the ACDP does very well. Our contribution at this National Dialogue is going to do well. Next week, we will request both the chairman and the deputy chairman to share with us what they are going to say. I told you what I'm going to say. They will tell us what they're going to say shortly within this National Dialogue. People will be coming with ideas. Send us. And when I say send us, I'm saying make proposals. Tell us what can be done and what should be done. Okay, that's the National Dialogue. Let's leave it for now and go back to our co-pilot, Deputy President. Deputy President, you are concerned, you told me you are concerned about this you call international interference. Okay, what do you mean by international interference? Maybe say something about that, and then we will take it further later on.
Well, President, I think that every nation has a right to protect itself, has a right to defend itself from international interference from other countries. A country like South Africa has its sovereignty, and its sovereignty needs to be protected. Its property needs to be protected, because the property and the assets of that country don't belong to government. The assets belong to the people. The assets belong to the nation of that particular land. And I think last week, sir, we touched on the aspect of Iran seeking to either purchase or lease or rent out a portion of City Hall, either buy the City Hall or rent out, lease a portion of the City Hall, so that they could, in the City Hall, begin to portray the culture of their country. Now, I was listening to a podcast called The Political Insider with Mike Sham, and he had as a guest another podcaster or independent journalist, Kutle Kamane. And so in this particular podcast, some serious allegations were made. And those particular allegations are that the Iranian attempt to purchase or to lease the City Hall should be a red flag to everybody in South Africa, because every deal, according to Kuhle Kamane, every deal that the Iranians have actually done have been deals that were either dodgy or underhanded. And so this particular deal, apparently, is a deal that has been taking place, and he says allegedly, it is Action SA as one of the political role players. And when they were approached, they denied. And he says that when he produced evidence, or he has the evidence, that actually a meeting between the Iranians and members of Action SA actually took place. So this needs to be tested. But he spoke about the red flag of property of South Africa, which belongs to the residents, belongs to the citizens, being allowed to be transferred, whether for cash or kind or whatever, for whatever reason, political reason. He raised a red flag because he says we have a problem in that the three spheres of government are autonomous. And because the local government is also autonomous, local government has he says, a constitutional right to sell off certain property. And so this is a loophole that could possibly be used. Now, it need not necessarily be Iran. It may be North Korea next. It may be, a South American country that wants to deal with drugs and peddle their drugs next. And so I think as the ACDP, we are saying, and it has got to be absolutely clear that South Africa is not for sale, that the property of South Africa, our national assets, are not for sale. When it comes to the points of entry, and we also know that in certain parts of Africa, some of the ports, the harbors, the airports are being controlled and being built and managed by international outside partners. And so we cannot allow for this to happen in South Africa. And so I would like to urge every citizen to make their voice heard, to write to your representatives. Firstly, write to the city council of Tshwane, the metro, informing the executive and your councillors there that you do not want the assets of the municipality to be transferred to another nation. This also, President, and maybe as I conclude here, this also would have serious consequences to some of our South African partners that we have, economic partners. If it is seen that South Africa is now partnering even further with Iran, and some allegations are that it was Iran that instigated South Africa to go to the ICJ and talk about connecting the dots. But if this particular deal goes ahead, we could see further severing of economic ties with some of our other trade partners. And this would add to the hardship that many South Africans are currently facing, with over 33% unemployment on this expanded definition, over 40% youth unemployment, close on to 60%. Our debt to GDP sitting at around 75%. We have a debt of over close on to 6 trillion rand. And so it adds to the problems if we allow politicians that you have elected to make the wrong decisions on your behalf. It cannot be that we allow this to happen under and on our watch. And so it is something that we need to be watching, and very clearly something that we must not allow, because it will only further impoverish, endanger, and dilute who we are as South Africans. Thank you, President.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Having spoken about sovereignty, we need to guard and watch and defend our sovereignty. There is a man that we highly respect in matters of defending your sovereignty and the sovereignty of the country, who is an activist and who is watching the move of the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization as examples. What they are planning to do with our lives, with our sovereignty. So I'm now going to introduce somebody that you know, but is back because there are things happening behind our scenes. Even when we are not aware, things are happening. World Health Organization is not asleep, is working against us. That's why we need to stand up, know what's happening, and protect our sovereignty. Advocate Sabelo Sibanda. He is the advocate of the High Court of South Africa, a practicing legal practitioner with defense experience in most areas in criminal-related work and human rights issues. So, advocate, thank you very much for making the time and for sounding the alarm. Can you please just, you have just about 10 minutes. I'm sorry we took some of your time. If we are not happy, we are going to call you back. But please tell us, what is happening? What is happening? What should we be concerned about? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Reverend, and good evening to everyone here tonight. It's really an honor to be invited to speak on this particular topic. And I think for me, the fact that ACDP is the first and only party so far that has decided that it's necessary to engage tells me that ACDP is very much concerned about what's going on. And indeed, we just had the Deputy President talking to us about issues of sovereignty. And the President was speaking about respect. What is happening in a nutshell is that the World Health Organization, through the Pandemic Preparedness Treaty, which they've now called an agreement, deliberately not calling it a treaty because they know that within the context of international law, once it's continually referred to as a treaty, then there are processes that speak to ratification through national parliament. But if it's an agreement, then it can be slipped through as something that the executive can negotiate on their own and therefore bypass parliament. So on the 20th of May, 2025, they came up with the agreement. So I don't know if some of you will remember Tedros celebrating and saying, yes, we've done it for the world. But in actual fact, that was just a scam because the agreement is not complete. There is no enforceable agreement. There is a draft which they have accepted with certain provisions. And now they are dealing with what they call the Pathogen Access and Benefit Sharing Annex, which is what really speaks to the basis of what the treaty is about and will be talking to, which speaks mainly to profits over people and is also speaking to giving the World Health Organization binding authority over our countries and over our bodies, and that way compromising the sovereignty of the nation as much as compromising the sovereignty of the individual. So by Sunday this week coming, which is the 10th of August, countries have been asked to submit written proposals as to what they want to see expressed in the treaty. And our parliamentarians have not been consulted about this, yet they are the representatives of the people. So we've got the executive who has appointed whoever it has appointed to go and negotiate in the name of South Africa, bypassing parliament, whereas parliament has an oversight role over the actions of the executive. And Parliament has the authority to call the ministers and the president basically to answer for what they are doing, especially in the name of the country. If this process is allowed to go through, my brothers and sisters, we have a potential problem in our hands, because the pathogen access and benefit sharing, what it means is that countries will be now asked to look for whatever may cause a disease and submit it to World Health Organization and to Big Pharma and the basic laboratories all over the world, and they start doing their thing again, where they weaponize these pathogens to see if they are lethal or not in as far as humanity is concerned. They release it and then they give themselves the power to then dictate lockdowns, in as much as they phrase it in such a manner that in the agreement, that is, that the countries will not lose sovereignty, but that is taken away in the international health regulations, which are said to be binding on the nations, where the health regulations give them the same power that they claim not to have in the agreement. So we've got a situation where the agreement and the health regulations are running together, though it seems like parallel, unrelated processes, but they are running together. Even the agreement itself does make mention of the fact that it is interpreted along the lines of the international health regulations. So we need a stand. We need for ACDP to do it again for the people, to challenge the executive, to basically get the government to account to the people. We need to know what they have submitted in the name of South Africa. We need to know, if they have not submitted, what exactly are they submitting, and who is submitting, and who is sitting in that space in the name of the people, and by what authority. And why is it that Parliament has not been given an opportunity to debate this particular piece of international legislation that is being negotiated? So we are basically stuck in a situation where our sovereignty is up for sale. We see how they're borrowing money left, right, and center. Even this 4.7 billion that they got from the European Union. And amongst the things that this money is supposed to do is to start developing infrastructure for the pharmaceutical companies to come and start setting up factories in South Africa so that their drugs can be distributed throughout the continent, so that vaccines can be, so-called vaccines can be distributed throughout the continent, with South Africa playing the pivotal role as the gate into the continent. So my request is that ACDP stand with us, the people. This is the only party, like I say, that has been responsive to the call that we've made to say, parliamentarians, please stand with us, the people, and we see exactly how we can assist you to also sharpen your tools by which to argue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ndade Sabelo. You can be sure of the ACDP playing its part to ensure that we are not, we do not as a nation allow the people who don't care about our lives and our future to throw things on us and force us to do what we do not want to do as a nation, because we have rights and a sovereignty that we will defend at all costs. So when the trumpet sounds and the call is made, ACDP come and help, we are willing, because we care for our children and children's children. We care for the people of South Africa. So Advocate Sabelo, thank you very much for sharing that with us. We will talk more about when we are going to do it and how we're going to do it, but helping is definitely something we'll do, because we do not want our sovereignty to be snatched from our hands and our noses. We are not going to allow that to happen. Now, lastly, maybe let me go back to something I forgot to mention. You remember that last week we spoke about the Nelson Mandela Foundation that called for people, organizations, and individuals to join a competition to see who can effectively challenge Christians who believe in the right of Israel to exist within safe and secure borders, Christian Zionists. So we wrote to them, okay? The Secretary will talk about it next week. She wrote to the Nelson Mandela Foundation Wednesday last week, Wednesday last week, and demanding an appointment with their CEO to talk about this matter. Are they challenging our Christianity, or what's the problem? They did not respond. She sent a second email. They also did not respond. Then she decided to go on their website to see what's happening there. Maybe they don't want to respond directly to her, so she went on their website. Guess what? The information that was there that caused us to ask for an appointment has been removed. Nothing. She said, there is nothing. They've removed it. Now, if they remove information they put on the table, that will say to them, that man says vaker, ne? All right? What were they planning to do? Did they think we don't read? Did they think on Slapera? I'm curious to know. Why did they remove that information from their website? And why are they not responding to our request for a dialogue, for a meeting to discuss this matter? Interestingly, the CRL Commission has responded quickly. And they said they are going to investigate the matter. They have a unit that investigates matters, and then they will come back to us. Okay, maybe let me read what the Secretary wrote here. The CRL have responded by advising that their investigation and conflict resolution unit will manage the complaint. We wrote to the CRL secondly, they have responded. Then the South African Human Rights Commission. Listen to what they have said. The SAHRC, South African Human Rights Commission, have requested evidence in the form of statements, publications, or videos in support of the complaint. We must give them evidence. Now, the CRL is going to investigate. South African Human Rights Commission, they don't want to investigate. They say, we must give them proof. We must give them proof in the form of statements and publications to support our complaint. Well, there's an agenda there. I don't think we even have to do that. They are just exposing themselves. We'll talk about them one day, about their response and their behavior. We are disappointed. That's all I want to say for now. We are disappointed, but the matter is not over yet. But what they say we must submit, we are not going to submit that, because they should know what's happening. They should investigate the complaints and not us doing the job for them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you tonight. Next week, you have the Secretary who's going to tell you more about what we have, the response of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Can you imagine, after Mandela did such a good work in this country, now this foundation is doing this? Okay, we'll talk more about it later on, or maybe next week. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. From my side, the Lord bless you. Until we meet again next week, Tuesday night, same time, on the same link that you'll receive. Okay, DP, I'm out, my bro. I have said my goodbyes and sleep well, lekker slap. So it's your turn, sir.
Thank you, President. Let me just say, the Lord bless you, the Lord keep you, the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you and give you peace. Good night and thank you.
Good night. God bless you.